Welcome to this week's tarot tutorial where I break down the hidden messages and meanings of tarot one card at a time in a simple bite-sized way. These videos are designed for you to participate and actively learn tarot, creating a keepsake reference book by the end of the series. I'm Heather, and whether this is your first time visiting my channel or you are a longtime subscriber, thank you for joining the pack. In today's video, we will be breaking down the symbolism and interpretation of the Hermit. If you find value in today's video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and tells me what kind of content you want more of. Now let's jump right into our learning all about the Hermit. Here we have our Hermit card, and I'm going to be using a purple pen today, and I'm just going to take my glue stick and glue this down to the page. So you can take a moment and do this too if you are following along and creating your own keepsake book. Okay. So I'm just going to put them right up here today. Okay. So when we look at the Hermit card, what we see here is we see a monk or recluse shrouded in a cloak, holding a staff right here in his hand and holding a lantern. His head is tilted towards the ground, his eyes are closed, and he's standing still in snow atop a mountain. Okay, so he's far away from society and people. The recluse is aged. You can see this with his white hair and his beard. And the card has kind of a bleak background. And then there's this soft glowing light from the lantern. As we get into the symbolism here, I'm just going to turn. It just makes it easier for me to write on an angle like this. So we're going to start with the lantern. And the lantern in the card represents inner wisdom and the search for truth. The Hermit holds the lantern to guide himself in the dark, symbolizing the light of spiritual insight. This light illuminates the way for others who seek enlightenment. So we're going to start, and I'm just going to write, I want to keep a spot up there. I'll do a little different today. Okay, so lantern. And I'm going to write inner wisdom, search for truth. Okay. So again, the lantern is there to guide the Hermit in the dark, symbolizing the light of spiritual insight. So I'm going to put spiritual insight. And there we go. Okay. And now the next thing that we're going to look at is the staff that he is holding. So the staff represents spiritual authority and stability. It is a tool that guides the Hermit, helping him navigate his path. It can also signify the support of one's spiritual journey, keeping the seeker steady and focused. So I'm going to write, I'm actually going to write it up here, and I'm just going to write staff. And so this is spiritual authority and stability. So it helps him navigate his path, but it can also signify the support of one's spiritual journey, and it keeps the seeker steady and focused. So I'm going to write keeps seeker steady and focused. Okay. And then the next thing is the mountaintop that the Hermit is standing on. So he's standing right on the very top, the summit of the mountain. And this symbolizes spiritual elevation, introspection, and a journey toward higher wisdom. The hermit climbs the metaphorical mountain, showing that enlightenment requires effort, time, and patience. So I'm just going to put over here mountain. So this is spiritual evolution, introspection. And then it's also the journey towards higher wisdom. So journey toward higher wisdom. Okay. So again, this hermit is climbing that metaphorical mountain, showing that enlightenment requires time, effort, and patience. So I'm going to just put enlightenment requires patience, time, effort. Okay. And then we look at the cloak that the hermit is wearing. So you see that he's completely covered and shrouded in this cloak. The hermit's cloak represents solitude and protection. So this is this cocoon that's protecting him from the outer world. It is a garment that shields him from external distractions, symbolizing the inner work that is required to gain deeper insight. So I'm just going to write cloak. And again, solitude and protection. I'm going to put and shield from external distractions. So again, this is symbolizing that inner work required to gain deeper insight. So inner work required to gain insight. Okay. And then we're going to get into the numerology. So we see up here at the top of the hermit is the number 9. So for numerology, I'm just going to write numerology. We have number 9. And the number 9 represents completion, introspection, and humanitarianism. And the number 9 is associated with spiritual maturity and wisdom, as well as a deep understanding of the cycles of life. It represents the end of one cycle before the beginning of another. So I'm just going to write completion, introspection, humanitarianism. So it's also spiritual maturity and wisdom. And end of one cycle. So before beginning of another. Okay, there we go. And now I'm just going to write astrology. And with astrology, the hermit is ruled by Virgo, so the astrology association is Virgo. And Virgo is a sign that values introspection, analysis, and service to others. So I'm just going to write Virgo. And then I'm going to do a little arrow here. And I'm going to write values, introspection, analysis, and service to others. Okay, and now we're going to get into the interpretation. So I'm just going to write interpretation. Okay. So when we look at the Hermit here, the interpretation with the Hermit is the Hermit represents a period of solitude and introspection. It calls for you to seek wisdom within, away from distractions and noise. This card advises you to spend time in self-reflection, away from the external world, in order to gain deeper understanding and insight and to realize how your past actions have led to your current predicament or current point in life. So where you are in life is really a direct result of your choices, your actions, or lack thereof. And the Hermit indicates that it's time to seek guidance from within or from a mentor who can help you navigate a spiritual path, because now is the time of passive reflection rather than a time of action. So if you were unhappy with a situation or outcome in your life, it is time to reflect on the consequences of your past actions in order to come up with a different plan or approach to improve your situation. So as we write this out, so interpretation represents period of solitude, introspection, seeking wisdom, away from distractions. Okay. Let's see. So self-reflection, to better understand current circumstances. Okay. Seeking guidance within or from a mentor. And it's also a time of passive reflection. Not action. Okay. Now, if you were looking at a career-specific reading, then the Hermit can represent an advisor, a counselor, or a guide, and the appearance of the Hermit may indicate that you may be in a position to guide or mentor others, or that perhaps it is time for you to reconsider the direction of your career. So you want to look at things like, are you happy or fulfilled in your career? And if the answer is no, then it is time for you to reassess your career and your career goals. If we were looking at a relationship reading, then the Hermit may indicate that you need to take some time away from the relationship for yourself to learn how to enjoy your own company and find happiness within rather than from external distractions. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's saying to end a relationship. It's just making sure that you're taking time for yourself to better understand yourself and to reflect on whether or not you're leaning too much on the other person for your happiness, because the whole point is with that inner reflection is learning to enjoy your own company and learning to be alone without feeling lonely. Now, in a health reading, the Hermit can suggest that you need to incorporate daily meditation or reflection practices, and that can actually help improve your health, particularly if you are suffering from health issues related to stress or anxiety. The Hermit is linked to the intestines and the pancreas and can also indicate that you may be experiencing food sensitivities or allergies. Now, we're going to get into the reversed reading. So I'm going to put reversed. And when the Hermit appears reversed, this indicates that you may be avoiding an emotional issue by busying yourself or preoccupying yourself. So you have no quiet time or no time for reflection, and you may be burying your emotional pain in work or by taking on extra responsibilities. So this form of avoidance, like working long hours, adding extra responsibilities to your daily tasks, can also create an imbalance in your work-life balance, which can exacerbate any emotional issues or pain that you are experiencing. So, for example, if you're not happy in your career or you're taking on extra tasks at work, it will not improve your situation because you aren't giving yourself time to assess and reflect on your career. Now, if you are having issues in your personal relationships, working long hours and avoiding difficult conversations will only add to the stress on the relationship. So when you see the Hermit reversed in a reading, it is time to take a break and explore ways to decrease your responsibilities and your workload. So reversed, avoiding emotional issues, by taking on extra responsibilities / work. Okay. And then the key message again, when you see the Hermit reversed, is that it's telling you that it's time to take a break to explore ways to decrease your responsibilities and workload. So time to take a break and find ways to decrease workload / responsibilities. Okay. Okay, and there we go. That is the Hermit. Thank you for joining me today on your path of learning. Join me next week when we dive into the Wheel of Fortune. And no, not the spin the wheel and pick a letter, Wheel of Fortune. If you found today's video informative, fun, or both, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and check out my free monthly and weekly tarot readings.